Students are pretty fucked when it comes to time management, and who can blame them? We are living in an attention economy right now, where every company with a technology presence is vying for your attention, trying to keep you on their app or website for that extra few seconds so you can consume that extra piece of content. Combine that with the highs of the student lifestyle, moving away and getting your first taste of independence, the drink, the partying. When I first moved here, I only cared about the social side of uni. Grades and everything in between were not a priority. I mean, you don't have much time to work on assignments when you're sleeping through all your mornings. And if you watch my video on sleep, then you know that's a bit of a negative feedback loop because you're not following your body's natural circadian rhythm that responds to changes in light throughout the day. That will lead you to feeling exhausted all the time, be in bed more, and just making the problem worse. Last year I began taking my uni work more seriously because here in the UK, the first year doesn't actually count towards the final mark you get on your degree, only the second and third years. So I kept my head down, I worked hard, and I became one of the top students on my course that year. That's a cool achievement to look back on because it was a long journey having to sustain that effort across every single one of my assignments. But obviously that was only half the work done, because to get that overall high mark on my degree, then I have to sustain the same effort and consistency across my third year too. And that's where this dilemma comes in, because not only am I a student of the University of I'm also a lifelong student of the self-improvement game. You and I know that there's only so much formal education can teach you. Sure, getting that official piece of paper that says I passed will help me open up some opportunities, but life demands more from us. University isn't going to teach me how to be confident and have good social skills. It isn't going to teach me how to start a business. It isn't going to teach me how to look after my physical and mental health. And those skills that I listed take time to master, sometimes an entire lifetime of commitment. But how can I begin mastering those when I have a mountain of coursework piling up at the same time? That is the question I asked myself a few months ago. And thankfully, I have the answer, or rather several answers, that I'm going to share with you today. As far as I know, there aren't any videos like this for students, so I had to figure out this balance through a process of trial and error. I've had to be quite flexible this year and really optimize my routine to keep getting those top grades and not lose sight of my self-improvement and my YouTube. But I'm confident that this advice will help you get these two forces of nature under your control and make them your bitches. Okay, so step one. Seemingly obvious advice, but still important nonetheless. If you intend to be productive and get a lot done with your day, then you have to wake up a few hours earlier than the norm. The average wake up time for a university student is probably about 10 AM. And that's being generous because my average wake time was probably like 2 PM for my entire first year. If the norm is 10 AM, then you should be waking up around 7 AM. You could push it back even further than that, but I found that compromised the quality of sleep I got, and you want to be feeling fairly well rested to take on all the challenges of the day. 7 AM gives you a good head start on everyone else. You could be up, have worked out, meditated, fed yourself and gotten a good chunk of your work done for the day, all before the morning is over. An early wake up time combined with a solid morning routine can set the tone of the day really well. It can get the ball rolling, and then you can ride that momentum to complete the rest of the day's tasks. And whatever wake up time you choose, make sure it's roughly the same time each day. The next tip has been my secret weapon, probably the most instrumental thing in helping me achieve that balance between these two sides of my life. I'll briefly tell you about my routine at the start of uni this year to help explain this better. So I just finished summer break, where I'd had a lot of time on my hands to just focus on whatever I wanted, and most of that was self-improvement orientated. Naturally, when you have a lot of time, you end up spacing out the tasks that need to be completed, so I would aim to try and release like 3 videos for my YouTube a week. One day I would write the script and film, and the next day I would do all the editing and make the thumbnail. It was like a system of alternating days. So when I went back to uni, I was eager to release the same amount of videos per week. So obviously I followed the same routine, and it worked for a while until I started receiving my assignments. I would try and fit in all my uni work at the same time with this YouTube stuff, and I would fail. I would effectively end up taking a few days off YouTube just to catch up on assignments. Everything would be messed up. I can understand how you might think doing the scripting and filming one day and then all the editing another might not seem like a lot of work, but the problem was my attention was divided. I was trying to focus on doing so many things in one day that I never really got to build up momentum in any of those tasks. It just wasn't productive. So you can probably guess what the crucial change I made to my routine was. I started focusing on one thing a day. So university work one day and then YouTube and self-improvement the next day. What scared me about this was the idea of getting a whole YouTube video done in one day. I'd convinced myself that it couldn't be done. But when I actually tried, I realised I was being stupid and I could actually get the whole thing done within about 4 to 5 hours with a lot of time to spare for my other activities. With actual time management in place, we're capable of so much more than we initially think. When you're getting started with this one day on and off routine, I'd recommend that you plan your time meticulously the first few weeks. When you know you have something to be doing every second of the day, really good for overcoming distractions. And you don't have to evenly split the activities across the 2 days. Like, I go to the gym most days, and then sometimes on my self-improvement and YouTube days, if I have time, then I'll do a bit of uni work. Just make one day predominantly one thing. The next tip might be seen as more of a general productivity tip, but it's really helped me in getting all my tasks done in a limited amount of time, and that's do the hardest thing first. When you know you have something difficult to do and it's weighing down on your mind a lot, it can really screw up your productivity. That's why it's always advisable to do the hardest task at the beginning of the day, even if you don't feel like it. That could be going to the gym and doing some heavy squats. It could be working on your projects, your business ideas. It could be writing the first few words of a 5,000 word essay. Make yourself do it then and there, in that moment, and you'll thank yourself later. You might say, what's the point? I don't know what I'm doing and I won't finish it. Even if that's true, just do something, a tiny bit. Any progress is progress, and the likelihood is, after doing that little bit, you'll find your footing and you'll be able to continue for a lot longer. That's tip number 3. The final piece of advice I have for you is surrounding a different side of uni. If you've done a hard day's work, completed all your tasks to the best of your ability, as far as I'm concerned, you've earned a little bit of time off to relax and have fun. This could be through doing some mindless stuff at the end of the day, like watching Netflix, or it could be through socialising, through hanging out with your friends. On the topic of your social life though, you will have to make some sacrifices if you're serious about finding this balance. Don't take this the wrong way. You shouldn't isolate yourself from other people, because spending time with friends and family, it's socialising. And that's a necessary part of self-improvement. What I mean is stuff that's guaranteed to affect your progress in a negative way. Partying, drinking, doing drugs. For many people, those are the pillars of the uni experience. They were the pillars of my experience for some time. Yes, it can be fun, and it would be wrong for me to not acknowledge it as part of student life. And when I say you have to find a balance between self-improvement and uni, that includes the partying too. I would not tell someone to actively avoid it. Nightlife at university is a coming-of-age experience, and it has challenges, but there will also be some moments in there that end up defining your youth. The danger is in letting it control you. In my first year, there was always something to do in the evening, always a group to drink with or some random house party to go to. The problem was, I never said no to any of it. Even when I didn't really feel like going out, I would still come along just for the fear of missing out. And most of the time, the party was boring. That's the ridiculous part. What I'm saying is, don't take it to either extreme. Don't become a recluse, but don't become the 24/7 real raver. You must have the discipline to pass on certain opportunities, especially when your work demands it. That's the cost of being great. And the bonus is, when you do go out, you'll have more fun because it's in moderation. So that's my advice on striking a healthy balance between self-improvement and uni. If you like what you heard, subscribe, join the brotherhood, and start learning the ways of the Iron Man. See you in the next one.